My name is Daphna. I'm a multidisciplinarian. I studied economics and studio art as an undergrad, and in my professional career, I've worked in the high-tech industry as a marketing manager, as a content writer, as a user experience designer, and I've also worked in organizational development. Now, an underlying theme throughout my professional and my academic career has been the issue of collaboration, people working together. Specifically, recently, the issue of working together has become not only an issue of groups, but also on a greater scale, collaboration with the masses. I had the opportunity to indulge my interest in collaboration as I studied for my master's in integrated design. Integrated design is a fascinating and relatively new discipline. It explores the role and significance of design as the world is changing and becoming more connected and more complex. Specifically during my studies, I wanted to learn about collaborative systems, or more specifically, how can collaboration emerge from a system structure? As I started my research, I discovered that there's a universe of information about collaboration. It turns out I'm not the only one out there who's interested in this topic, which is a good thing. But I was particularly struck by the collaborative mechanism employed by social insects. Now, there's a term for this mechanism. It's kind of a funny-sounding word. It's called Stigmergy. Now, I want you guys to feel comfortable with this word, so on the count of 3, let's bring it into the universe, okay, and say it out loud. 1, 2, 3. So the definition of stigmergy is when a trace is left in the environment and it triggers an action on behalf of another organism. The term was coined in the late 1950s by Dr. Paul-Pierre Grasset, a zoologist studying social insects like ants and termites. Now, if you didn't know, stigmergy explains how ants find food across vast areas. What happens is ants leave their nest and scatter in a random direction. When an ant finds food, as it heads back to the nest, it emits a scent into the air, a type of pheromone. Other ants that pick up on this scent, they converge in the direction of where the food is located, and then they bring it back to the nest. Now, what's happening here is very interesting. First of all, the collaboration is being done bottom up. The ants aren't communicating one with the other. Information is being broadcast into the environment. Now, once it's in the environment, other ants coming into contact with this information can use this information and can act on this information. In the human context, when we think about it, this is a lot like the internet. People upload information to the World Wide Web, and anybody with an internet connection can access this information and use this information. Now, with all this stigmergy and collaboration going on, I wanted to see, well, what's happening behind the scenes? How is this collaboration working? So during my studies, I designed a tool that visualizes the collaboration in one of the most collaborative environments online, Wikipedia. Now, a little disclaimer, Wikipedia does have some form of hierarchy. However, nobody can deny the collaboration happening there, with 30 million articles in 287 languages. So what Trace does is it visualizes the collaboration happening behind the scenes. I want to explain to you right now how it works. The timeline is circular, and every time that somebody adds or makes changes to the article, this is like a trace. So let's say somebody decides to make an article and contribute it online. This is indicated by a line. Somebody else comes, they read the article, they agree, they disagree, they make changes to the article, and they upload their changes. This is another trace left in the environment. And so on and so forth. People come in, they make changes, the article grows, and eventually there's content in the Wikipedia environment. Now let's take a real case study. My good friend Paul McCartney. If we want to see the collaboration happening behind the scenes, well, this is what it looks like. It starts off kind of slow. People add their changes and corrections, and eventually the article grows over time. Now, what's really cool about data visualization, and yeah, I said it, what's cool about data visualization is the fact that once we create an abstract form or graphic to the data, we can start to detect patterns. And once we detect patterns, first of all, we know where to look, and second of all, we can start to ask questions. So for example, we can see around 11 o'clock, there's a lot of bright white lines. Well, these are a lot of changes, a lot of traces being left in a very short period of time. Turns out this is the Queen's Jubilee, an event in 2012, where Paul McCartney performed. So this triggered actually a lot of people making changes around this time. Another thing interesting about the collaborative environment is that even topics that are very considered controversial, that people have a lot of opinionated ideas about what it is or what it means, the collaborative environment allows both sides to contribute, and eventually content is created. It isn't canceled out. This is also something that is very valuable. Now, when we think about it, we see that Stigmergy has a lot of power. We see that it works. And yet, the organizations that we're involved in and that impact our lives, whether it be the companies that we work at day in and day out, the academic institutions that we attend, and the governments that we rely on to solve our most complex problems of sustainability, of economy, of health, of peace. These organizations are in hierarchies. Now, I'm not here to discredit hierarchies. They have value. But their greatest drawback is that there's only so much a few at the top can know, can understand, or can even have the time to invest in solving these complex problems on behalf of the rest of us. But what if we started to use Stigmergy to propel everyone forward? Well, this is already happening within the technology environment. We saw an example right now with Wikipedia. Another example is open source code. Open source code is when the source code of a project is made publicly available, and developers with different skill sets can come in, improve upon the code, and feed it back into the project. Examples like Firefox or Linux operating system are a testament to how powerful Stigmergy can be, how mass collaboration can be. I want you to start thinking about the traces that are in your environment that are triggering you into action. And I want you to think about the traces that you're leaving in your environment that are triggering people around you into action. Are you leaving behind trash? Or are you leaving behind triggers? Today I want to invite you to start looking for the signals, the traces, the triggers. And imagine, if we start to use Stigmergy, how far could you go? How far could we all go? Thank you.